we're now going to move on and start adding accessories and clothing to our characters. Now before we start, you can probably notice that my character is very different from the last time that you may have saw him. So you haven't missed one of the videos. I'll link a time lapse. So basically, when I was just looking at how to add a new head or what kind of head I wanted to, I sort of experimented with this more of a robot style head. I was quite happy with that. So I then went back and actually redone the hands. So all last time lapse, I'll link that so you can watch that if you'd like to. But I thought it'd be quite nice to see how you can do organic and humanoid looking hands, and then how you can also maybe try and do something more creative and add some different type of hands. So in this case, sort of robot type hands. Alright, so we're going to start now with clothing. Now, what I like to do with clothing, especially in this manner, I like to just add almost another layer on top of the body for the clothing. So rather than adding more objects onto this, I like to just modify what we've already got. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to apply this mirror modifier because I wanted to add equally across my entire mesh. And then I'm going to look, where do I want the clothes? So for now, I'm going to say let's have a t-shirt and shorts on my character. So I basically just want to highlight the areas in which I want the clothing to be on. I don't want to separate them just yet. I want an entire layer of clothing. So I'm going to identify these first. So to do this, I'm going to go into edit mode. And I'm going to basically just show where the highlights are of my character. Or of my clothing, sorry. So I'm going to go into face select. And I'm going to say, right, the sleeves probably about there. Come down to there. I'll do the same then for this side. I think that's right. That's right, yeah. So that's where my sleeves are going to go down to. As for the neck, I'll just put it a little bit lower than I naturally would, just because I've done this different style here. I'm going to just put the neck there for a second. And then I want to come down to wherever my shorts are going to be. So I'm going to say the shorts can probably come down to about, let's say, there. And there we go. That's where I want my clothing, all between these extremes. So now I'm going to go into wireframe mode and I'm going to highlight all of these areas. So I'm going to hold shift here, highlight all of these faces, everything between the sleeves, the neck, and the bottom of the shorts. All of this needs to be highlighted. And I think I pretty much got it there. There you go. Feel free to pause while you can wait and actually highlight all those, because it can be a bit tricky sometimes. But that's the area of clothing I want on my character. Now to get this layer of clothing, it's nice and simple. I'm just going to go to one of the edges so I can see how thick I'm going to make this. I'm going to do Alt and E, and I'm just going to extrude. Not that much, maybe about there. So I've extruded, and now I've got what looks like, if I go up, a layer of clothing around my character. Right now there's nothing between the shorts and the t-shirt, but I can sort that in a second. But right now I've got a layer of clothing, or a layer of something sitting on top of my character. It's not immediately noticeable, because we haven't added textures or colours just yet, but you can already see how there is a noticeable lining of the clothing. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to say that's how thick the jeans, or the shorts in this case, should be. So now I'm going to do the same for my t-shirt. So instead, I'm going to think, right, where does my t-shirt end? So I know where my sleeves are, because the sleeves are up there. So I've got a choice here. Either here, that's where my t-shirt can end. That looks a little bit high for my character model. What I've got here, I've actually got this nice line there. Look at that. That looks like the edge of a t-shirt. So I'm just going to naturally use that. Now, if you want to, I wouldn't normally suggest doing this, but because we're doing quite a simple tutorial and we're just making something that looks quite nice, you can use the knife tool to cut yourself a new layer if you wanted to. So for example, if I didn't want it just to be that low, like this line here, I could get the knife tool by pressing K, and I could draw my own line around there if I wanted to. So you can see how that's now got a new line for my clothing. Again, you've got to be careful with that, because you can mess up your topology a little bit depending on how you do that. But that's not going to be the focus on this series, so I'm not too worried about that for now. So I'm going to start off by highlighting that bottom layer. I'm going to go back to my sleeves. Say, right, there's my extremes. And same thing again. I'm going to highlight all these areas. So make sure you don't highlight anything outside of them. And you also want to be careful of highlighting the actual, the collar, I'll say. So if I just highlight these just for a moment, I'll get as close to the collar as I can now. Okay, so let's go in and have a look. So I want this entire layer highlighted. I think that's pretty much it, actually. What I don't want, make sure you don't highlight this area there, the inside part, because I want the clothing to go outwards and I don't want it to go upwards. If I highlight this, it'll start extruding up here towards the neck of the character, and I don't want that. Same for the sleeves. Make sure you haven't got the inside, so make sure you haven't got this part here selected. Alright, once I'm there, that's my t-shirt. Brilliant. I'm going to do the same thing again. Just come underneath so I can see the thickness, extrude along normals, and there we go. I've got my t-shirt. So you can see my character is now wearing a t-shirt and shorts. So that's one way of doing this. You can do clothing in multiple different styles with that. You can do obviously jeans, jackets, longer shirts, whatever you wanted. So I'd start with your clothing in that method. Now I don't actually want that clothing for my character. I'd like something a little bit different. I'd like actually, because this is going to be a robot character, I decided I'm going to do a robot character. I just want it to be a robotic body, and instead of extruding outwards, I want to extrude inwards. So what I've done to make sure I can do that, I've actually taken a copy, which I've just pasted here, of my character. So if I hide that, you can see I've got a character. In fact, let me show you a little bit differently. You can see I've actually got a second model of my character there without the clothing on there. Now, I'd probably recommend doing that, just so in case you mess up a little bit of the clothing, you've got something to go back to. So we'll go to that in a second, but I just want to look then at the different, or another type of add-in clothing or accessories, and that's just adding another object, similar to what I've done with the hands and the head. And if we look at the feet here, I'm not sure if I actually like the style of these feet. I don't think they're too bad. They're definitely not the worst ones I've done before. But I'm not sure. They just don't look naturally like feet, obviously, do they? If I were gonna create feet, I'd probably model them similar to how I done the hands, and I'd actually shape feet properly with toes and actual shapes. However, most of the time, characters are wearing shoes or they're wearing something on their feet. So I'd probably go ahead and do something similar to these. I'd find maybe a line here, probably those ones, and I'd just highlight all the bottom of the feet. There we go. Alt E and extrude out. This makes some boots for the character. There we are. The character's now wearing some form of boots. That's one method of doing it, and I think in this case, because the shape of the feet are quite nice in this instance, I think they're fine for boots. But what I've had to do in the past, when I've made the feet of the character, which aren't a great shape, I've actually deleted them and actually just modelled the boots separately and then attached that to the bottom. And regardless of what method you use, I would actually still recommend doing that in some instances. So down the bottom here, let's say, look at the bottom of these. That doesn't look natural at the bottom of a shoe. So what I normally do, I would do something like get a cylinder. Let's modify it so we can do both feet. Sorry, mirror, modify it so we do both feet. And I would just take this down, and maybe just make the bottom of the shoe with it. Take that there. Let's put it there. Let's have a look. So if I pull some of this back, say that's going to go to the back of the shoe. Let's make sure we grab all the vertices actually. That's the back of the shoe, and then that will be the front of the shoe. That looks like probably a bit bigger there, and maybe the same for the back. And then when you look at it finished, I'll probably bring that up quite a lot. Oh yeah, you can see that the shoes look a little better now. They've got that additional part there. I'd then click on that and then join into the character, obviously with the mirror modifier enabled and applied. And then you can start adding little bits like that to your shoes. Now, if you've got an odd shape, don't be scared to maybe come down here to the bottom of the shoe and just say, right, I don't like how this looks. I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to get rid of these faces because they're sticking to the bottom of my shoe that I've made, or something similar to that. So get rid of those. I'd probably recommend tidying it up a little bit later, but you can then just bring that up and you'll never see that. So say if I wanted to have it like that for some reason, I could go to my shoe, or my feet I suppose in this case. Just grab all these bits that are sticking underneath the shoe and just say, right, I don't want those. Because they're sticking out, and now suddenly they're not sticking out from underneath the shoe, and that looks a little bit nicer. Again, it's your character. It's up to you how you want to do this. So with my character, I'm probably actually not going to have shoes in him. I'm probably going to do something similar to what I've done up here with the hands, and I'm probably going to make some robotic feet for him, just so it's consistent across the entire model. But in that case, there's shoes there. You could do something similar. Shoes, you don't have to do a mixture of extrusions and additional objects. You could do just additional objects. You could do just extrusions. It's up to you. Whatever fits your character best and whatever fits your style of modeling best as well. Of course, alternatively, you can then also do what I've done and then just completely make a monster's foot or a monster's claw for the feet, whatever you're doing, you know. So that brings me on to what I want to do with my character, and that is the reverse of what I've said there, and I want to extrude inwards into my character. So let's have a look what I mean by that. So I'm going to hide this character, hide the shoes I've done, and bring back the original. Here we go. Now what I want to do, I want to have this look like my character, my robot, is made up of multiple pieces of equipment, of bits of robot, I suppose. There's different bits for his arms, there's bits for his legs, there's bits for his torso, and so on and so forth. So, I'm going to start splitting up this object. Now, let's have a look here. Like I said, I'm going to just make sure I apply that mirror modifier. So I'm going to go... That one looks okay. Let's start there. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to actually extrude inwards to break this up. Bring that in. I could do it a maximum. There we go. Now, people, humanoid people, human characters don't normally have these indentations, so immediately it makes my character look something that's not human. It really pushes the fact that, oh, actually, this is a robot, it's not a person. So I'm going to do that in various parts. So I'm going to separate the pelvis, maybe here, here. Again, let's extrude inwards. A little bit more. That should do there. There we are. So now the middle section has got this pelvis section, and you can see there's almost like under bits which are maybe more machinery, things like that. Maybe do the same then for the legs, around about where the knees would be. So where would the knees be? Maybe about there, I think. Yeah, see there. I'll do the same again. I'll just extrude inwards. Lovely, I think that works. In fact, that looks quite nice. I like that. Alright, let's do the same with the arms. Let's see there. Again, let's just make sure I do this in the right place. Yeah, that's the right place, yeah. And I'm just going to extrude inwards again. Not that much. About there, we'll say that. Yep, happy with that. And then let's do it at the shoulders. So let's think of the shoulders a second. I think maybe there. That could be okay. I'm not sure how that's going to extrude. That might look a little bit funky in a second, but we'll deal with that later. So I'm going to grab these parts, and this is where the... Oh, actually, no, that's okay. I'm okay with that. We may have to look at this. That looks okay. I'm okay. That's cool. I like that. And there we are. There's my, I suppose, clothing, or the more detailed parts of my robot done. So I've got these nice indentations, these nice bits cut out to really make it look like this is a robot. This isn't just something with a helmet on. It's got different parts. So you can take the leg off, you can take the arm off, whatever. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Like I said, I'm probably going to come back And before the next video, I'm probably going to cut off this leg or this foot, and I'm going to attach maybe a more robotic style leg. But actually, that doesn't look too bad. No, it's okay. I probably will change it, but it's not too bad. Looking at my robot though, I think there's something. It needs something more. It looks a bit plain. I think maybe the chest area, the torso area, because it's a bit plain at the moment. I want to add something there. So let's go for something like a reactor, power core, something that shows, right, this is where the robot's being powered from. And this is going to be like you can do with the shoes or bags or side weapons, anything you want. I'm going to do this as an extra object. So a completely new object. So let's spawn one in. We're going to go for a sphere. Let's bring this up to chest height. Bring it out for a second. I want this to face forward, so let's just rotate. And let's grab half of it, I think. Perfect. Now again, just to clarify, this is something that's good for my character. It's something that I want for my character. If you're making a humanoid character, or you're making a monster character, or whatever you're making, and you're thinking, right, well, I don't want one of those, then don't add it. Add something different. Add something that you'd like to your character. Like I said, it could be a bag, it could be a weapon to go on their side or their back. It's completely up to you. What I would recommend though, if you are doing things like weapons or something that attaches to your character, it's often a good idea not to actually join it. You can make the model, but when we then put this into Unreal Engine, it's normally better to add that weapon as a separate object, because then you can remove it and add it later on. And also, if you think about it, if you've got a weapon, let's say on your side here, like a holstered pistol, you don't want the weapon to bend with your character. You don't want to move and animate, which may happen in Mixamo. So make them ready. I'm not worried about this because this is going to be attached to my character, but it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so let's add a little bit to this, I think. Yeah, add like a housing for it. Maybe not that big. That'll do. And then let's have a look. Let's add a little bit of something else here. Let's indent these a bit. There we are. I'm happy with that. That's quite cool. And that's going to be the power core for my robot. And I'll just put that on its chest. Let's have a look how that looks. It sticks out a little bit more than I'd like, so maybe I'll just scale it down in the wide just a bit. That's cool. How about that? As for size, maybe a bit smaller. Yeah, I'm cool with that. That's good. So let's go back. Let's just rotate it so it's aligned properly. Cool with that. Now what I'm going to actually do before I fit this, I'm going to get this. I'm just going to extrude backwards just a second, just so there's no parts that aren't fitted to my robot. So there we go. Just have a look if that looks okay. There you are, nice and simple, not a complex shape at all. But I'm quite happy with that. I like that. It's nice. In fact, I may just be a bit pedantic and just fix the center here. I'm just going to put that as a face rather than a... There we go. It's a bit nicer. Not that you'd ever see that, and I'll probably add some glow to this later on so you wouldn't really see that, but it's a bit nicer. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Generally, the shape of my robot's quite good. So, continue with your character. Add as much clothing as you want. Just be careful when you extrude in there. Remember, if you're extruding and you decide that you don't like it, make sure you press Ctrl-Z. Don't press Escape. The last thing you want is extra vertices sitting on top of each other. So just keep adding to your character. And whatever you do, keep pressing that Ctrl-S. Keep saving. The last thing we're going to do is have a big loss of work like I had a little bit earlier. So keep going. Once you're happy with it, awesome. You're done with this side of the video and you're ready to move on to the next video.